Welcome to... Oh, it's compressing it in real time. You see that? That's so cool. Anyway, so this is another spoiler cast from my YouTube channel, because I know you guys have been starving for content, so this might not be something you're interested in, because it has nothing to do with wrestling, but it has everything to do with anime, so I'm sure some of you people are into anime or whatever. So we're going to do a spoiler, as you can see from the title of this podcast, we're doing a Revolutionary Girl Utena spoiler cast, right? Because this is the anime... Okay, we'll talk about this later. So, with me, I have a guest. Her name is Caitlin. Say hi.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? So, why are we here?
To talk about Utena and how wonderful she is.
Wait, is that what we're doing? I thought we were talking about the series, not just her.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about the series.
Oh, cool. I'm going to edit this part out, because we're using GarageBand, and I never use GarageBand. Why is it going backwards? Okay, never mind.
I feel like this is just for you to test out this program.
Part of it is. Okay, so we're doing a podcast about Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is an anime, a shoujo anime from 1997. Mm-hmm. At least the English version is. And first, let's talk about how we were introduced to this series. I want you to start.
Want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm into Sailor Moon, and so it looked Sailor Moon-esque.
Wait, when did you first find it?
Oh my gosh, like about a year ago.
Okay.
I was just searching through Hulu. I wanted something else to watch. I've always seen images of it on different, like, fan art. So I was like, hey, I'm going to check it out. This looks similar to Sailor Moon.
Have you heard it? Did you have any of your friends talked about it before or anything like that?
Actually, one of my friends, long time ago, back in high school, bought me the manga, but it wasn't the original series. It was kind of based on the Revolutionary Girl Utena movie, which we'll get into later, which is more of a fan-made movie, is the best way to describe it. It's not the original storyline. So I was introduced to her
through the manga.
But then I never watched the anime until recently, because I was like, hey, might as well watch it.
Did you remember the manga?
Yeah.
Like, you said, oh, I'm going to watch this because I had the manga.
No, that wasn't it.
Okay. So you just saw it on Hulu. You're like, I'm going to check it out.
Yes.
Do you know anything about the history of this show? Like, that it came from one of the directors of Sailor Moon or anything like that?
No.
You didn't know that? Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. So you found it on Hulu randomly. And then what?
And then I started watching, and I became addicted.
Did you binge watch it, all of it? Or was that over like a couple of weeks, months? Or this one took us 8 million years to watch.
Yeah, because we were doing the exchange diary.
Yeah, because she started showing me the episodes. Well, this is getting into my introduction. Are you done with your introduction?
I know. I was like, you keep asking me questions. Yeah. So that's my introduction to her.
You found it randomly on Hulu.
Well, I've always seen images of it, and then I was curious about it. I was like, might as well start watching it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do my intro, and if you think of anything about your finding of the anime, let me know.
Okay.
So I've heard of Revolutionary Girl Utena before. I didn't know much about it. I think the main thing I heard about it was on a Tumblr post, weirdly enough, which is going to make sense soon, that it was one of these animes that were like breaking down gender roles and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it was like a really positive feminist anime or something like that. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I didn't know anything about it. I heard it was about lesbians and stuff, which the anime really isn't. The movie, it totally is.
And it's how yet again, this is a very surreal, abstract anime. So there's a lot of layers and symbolism to it that can be taken different ways and through different perspectives.
Yeah, but it's not super explicit. I mean, there are lesbians in the anime, but it's not explicit whether Utena is a lesbian or not. But we'll get to Utena. I always do this when I record a podcast. It's talk about stuff that's happening in the future, and then say, oh, we'll get to that. So anyway, so I heard about it on Tumblr or whatever. I heard it was very positive anime in that regard, and that was it. And then you told me, hey, you like Utena. I was like, hey, is that the one with lesbians or whatever? And then you made me watch it. Like, I don't know how this came about. You maybe watch it, the series. It started off with the first episode and blah blah blah. At first, I was like, "It's this. I hate the stupid walking up the stairs bullshit." Like that. This is the type of anime you would think I would just really hate because it has so many elements of anime that I dislike. Like it has really bad animation, really poor, low budget animation where they have to reuse the same scenes over and over of her walking up the stairs, the same fight scene choreography and everything. It has really poor English dub. Like some of the voice acting is really good. I like Utena's voice, but some is really bad. Like freaking Jury is just terrible. But it gets better as the series goes on, as the voice actors become more comfortable with their roles. But that's one thing I hate about English. I love watching English. I'm not one of those, people that say, "Oh, you have to watch the dub," or "I have to watch a dub." I prefer watching it in English because, well, usually it's so I can pay attention to the visuals. But there's barely any visuals in this show, so it has all these elements of anime that I really dislike, but I ended up really liking it for some reason, and I think it's because of how weird it is. Like she said, Caitlin talked about how it was like super surreal and stuff. It reminded me a lot of like stuff like Twin Peaks and crap like that, with all these like mysteries of the school. And I'm so intrigued by why the hell are people dueling in the forest? Like, what does this mean? Why does Utena not really care that much at first and stuff like that? Like, it's just so weird. And, like, the whole Rose Bride game and the dueling games, like, how does that fit in? Are they going to explain it? I kept asking Caitlin over and over again, are they going to explain this? Are they going to explain it? Because if they didn't explain it, I'll be super pissed. But luckily, they pretty much explained most of that stuff throughout the series. It took me 8 years to get to that part. Because it's like a 32-episode series.
39.
39 episodes. That's long. And I skipped some because some of it felt like filler, so... but yeah, it's really weird. Like, normally that's another reason I don't watch serial animes, is because there's so many freaking episodes. And this one took me months to watch because Caitlin insisted that she be around during some episodes, and then some episodes I could watch on my own. And we did this cool exchange diary thing where I would write down my impressions on the episode, and then you would write
commentary.
back saying "cool," and that was it.
No, not the whole
Let's read
thing.
it. Here, I got it right here. Somewhere. So let's look at this. This is going to be really bad for the podcast, but it starts off with me doing... So let's read from the thing. It says, in my notes for episode 11, English subs, because I started watching with subs, something about drugs, school uniforms, blah, blah. And you wrote this, right there. And then next one is... You wrote smaller. The next one is... next one is... That much.
Also, I hate writing.
And next one is this much.
I loathe writing.
And then next one is not this one, which was a letter. That wasn't nice. And next one is nothing. You didn't write anything in reply to any of it. I put so much work into this, you didn't write anything. That's why we're doing this podcast. Anyway. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, this anime is really cool, and you should watch it. Actually, if you haven't watched it yet, why are you listening to this? Because it's a spoiler cast. So, we're here to discuss the events of the series, the characters of the series, just like any of my other spoiler casts, which I haven't uploaded, and so, whatever. Alright, let's get to... Anything you want to add to that, Caitlin? Were you even paying attention?
No.
Oh my god. Is there anything you want to add to your first experience at Utena now that you heard mine? No. Okay. So let's start off. Okay, the way that we have organized, or I have organized this discussion is by duels, because this story is all about freaking crappily animated duels between Utena and the other major characters of the story. So the story is told because they're all trying to fight for the Rose Bride, Anthy or whatever, and that's the story revolves around these stupid ass duels. And they're my least favorite part of the anime, and they're the most important in some ways. But we're going to organize them by duels because that's how most of the episodes are.
And that's how you're introduced to the anime.
Yes. So, well, I guess the first duel is Utena versus Saionji. But before we get to that, let's talk about Utena, and because she's the main character. Because I like to organize discussion by characters. So let's talk about Utena first. When you watched the anime for the first time, what was your impression of Utena?
I thought she was very strong.
Like how? Physically?
Physically, mentally, emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll get into that later, but she presented herself in a very strong aspect because she's striving to be a prince.
Yes.
And so having that prince-like spirit, you know, you need to have someone confident. You need to have someone you can depend on and have noble heart. And she became that.
I do wonder if, because this anime is all about breaking barriers or whatever, and this, she's a girl but she wants to be a prince. Did you find that weird or anything when you first started watching?
No, I found it inspiring.
Yeah,
that's actually
cool. When
they introduce. So in the beginning of the episodes, if you've seen it already, you know that it talks about her story and how she was really sad, losing her parents. She had a hard life at first, and she overcame it. And then through meeting a guy that she thought was her prince. And so she was what I find interesting is she was inspired to be a prince herself.
Yeah.
Because she was so inspired by him.
Yes.
Which typically, and most of the time, girls I feel like in love stories sometimes is she's waiting for her prince. But she decided to take the step of becoming a prince.
Yeah, she wanted to be a prince herself. She didn't want to be a princess to be with the prince. You don't
see that, you can meet her in that high school phase, I guess middle school.
Yeah,
that she's already, she's very athletic. She plays basketball with the boys.
Yeah, she's
all the girls think she's really great.
And she wears a cool boy's uniform.
Yeah, and she doesn't care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, and I like the boys' uniform because I think all the girls' uniforms look really stupid with their stupid football pad shoulders and stuff like that. So it's cool. Utena wears a cool boys' uniform.
Maybe that's half the reason she actually
even though the boys' uniform does not look like anything the other boys' uniforms.
It took me 5 episodes to realize that.
Apparently, from what I've heard, it's okay by school regulations because it's designed by the same people who make the other school uniforms. I don't know, that. Maybe in the manga it's something different too, but maybe she went to the school store and just found it. Imagine I always wonder, if you graduate and you buy the wrong color graduation gown, can you still wear that?
I don't know these things. I would assume not. Everyone has to look uniform. But anyways, she constantly gets in trouble by the teachers. And she refused.
Only because of the uniform.
Oh, yeah. Only because of the uniform.
Otherwise, she's is she an exemplary student? Or only in the physical stuff? Because sometimes she gets bad grades.
Yeah, I think it's only in the physical stuff.
Okay.
Physical realm. She's always good at, you always see her playing baseball or basketball, and she's doing a really great job. And
everyone admires her. The guys admire her. The ladies admire her. She has Wakaba, her girlfriend, or whatever, admires her. Best friend. Utena is very popular. And despite that, she only has one friend, really, at the beginning.
She doesn't have... I think you can be popular because everyone is looking up to you.
Do you think Utena knows she's popular?
I think she knew, but it didn't affect her ego.
Okay.
It didn't affect
Nothing really affects Utena, to be honest.
Well... in the beginning.
Well, yeah, that makes it. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's on purpose because of that.
So I find that interesting that you meet her at a very strong place.
Sure. Okay. Oh, she's a middle school student. That's weird. How old is she?
She's supposed to be 14.
Damn, she's
but
younger than I thought she was.
I mean, maybe. Middle school.
It doesn't really matter. We don't know about Japanese culture and all that stuff.
Yeah, 14-year-old.
That's crazy. She's 14 throughout the whole series, I guess. Dude, that's messed up. Well, I don't know about...
Welcome to anime.
I don't know about...
Welcome to anime. She looks like a college student.
Laws in Japan, but, Akio could get in trouble if he was in America. But, whatever. What was I talking about? Utena. The thing about Utena I really enjoyed was all this weird stuff happens to her, and she doesn't really look into it too much. She's like, okay, I'll accept this being weird, but whatever. And I really enjoyed that about her. At least at first, that's how she was at first, because she gets wrapped up in these duels and with Anthy Himemiya, which is some I think originally you told me she was a transfer student or something. I don't know, because she's obviously a different race than the other, because she has dark skin. I assume this takes place in Japan, because all their names are Japanese. For the most part.
It's supposed to.
So whatever. So Anthy Himemiya, and she sees Utena sees her and Saionji, and like Saionji's abusing her physically, and Utena steps in or whatever. So, and then she gets wrapped up in this whole dueling crap, which, meet me in the dueling forest or whatever. And they go to dueling forest, and like she climbs some stairs. She's like never questions why this stuff is even there in the first place. Maybe it's common knowledge in the school. Maybe like because there's a huge forest back there. Maybe people just know that that's where the people go to duel.
I think it's one of those things. Since this is a fantastical, surreal, abstract anime, that you take a step back from reality in that logic.
Yeah.
And yet again, you have to realize it's the adolescence era. Like, especially with the duels, sometimes I think within the adolescence, you aren't really thinking of all what's going on around you.
Well, in the story itself, they keep the whole dueling games, the rose seal, whatever it's called, they keep it a secret for everyone else, for the most part. But, yeah, I don't know. All this weird stuff's happening to Utena, and she doesn't seem to really give a crap. At least at first. So I was.
She cares. I mean, she cared about Anthy being abused.
Yeah, but she doesn't care enough to be like, why is this happening? Like, she's not freaking out over it. Like, oh my God, people are
she's not
taking swords out of human bodies, and there's a upside down castle in the sky. That's weird.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole show.
I know. That's why I like it.
That's the whole show.
That's what I like about it.
It's like Twin Peaks.
As opposed to the anime where everyone acknowledges everything as normal, but that doesn't work for me. For some reason, it works for me in this instance.
Well, because they set it up like that.
Yeah.
I think this series, I mean, I like comparing it to Twin Peaks in the way that it's very good at setting up the setting, the storyline, and the expectations. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why we can take a step from reality and be like, okay, I guess 14-year-olds are dueling each other.
Sure. Well, not all of them are 14.
14 or 15.
Some of them look
Kids are dueling
older.
each other.
They're
under 18 is dueling each other.
Okay. Anyway, so Utena's cool. She's very strong. Would you call her a strong female character? That seems to be a big buzz thing right now. Okay, cool.
Yes.
And she was back in 1997.
That's why I'm very impressed by this anime. Mm-hmm. Is because I can see how it's considered a classic, because it did break those barriers of, at that time, I don't think any other animes were doing that at that time.
I never watched Sailor Moon. What about Sailor Moon?
Sailor Moon, yes.
Okay.
Probably Sailor Moon and Utena.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about how strong Utena is. Let's go on the exact opposite side and talk about Anthy Himemiya, who is like it's probably on purpose. She's like almost the exact opposite of Utena, in that she's very weak. I mean, she's not emotionally weak because she has no emotions. So,
well, it appears that she has no emotions
for the most part, and like throughout the first season, Anthy gets slapped like a billion times by everyone.
And Tet can't do anything about it.
Like
she can't fight back for herself.
And like I get it, because she lacks emotions. I can't tell if she doesn't like it. Maybe that's the point. She doesn't really know.
I hope I'm not jumping ahead of myself.
No, you go for it. It's a Spoilercast.
So with Anthy, I think you're right on the part of that she is the exact opposite of Utena. Like, Utena speaks her mind. Utena is confident. And then you have the Anthy, who is the Rose Bride. She's like
very submissive, because she only does whatever she has engaged to.
And that's what everyone says.
Supposedly has no free will.
No free will. And I guess, it's very eccentric in that way of, she's almost, to me, caught in a shell. You know? Like, she hasn't been able to break out of this trap that she is in, or this cage.
Yeah.
Because, to me, symbolism. If you look at her throughout the series, you start looking at her eyes.
I do?
I started noticing her eyes, and that is the only way I could tell when she really started caring about
What about her
Utena.
eyes?
Like, there's just like an expression in her eyes, and it's slight and it's faint, and you have to try to catch it, that she is longing to be free.
To be free from, what, her brother?
From the cage that she's in.
Which is...
having a will. She wants to have a will of her own.
Okay, yeah, okay.
She doesn't want to be the Rose Bride anymore.
Yeah.
But yet again, she's caught in this cage, this emotional cage, symbolic,
Yeah.
whatever you would like to call it. And so she can't express that.
Yeah. But in the first season, which is what we're talking about, the Student Council Saga, this isn't apparent, right? At all? Like her desire for independence or whatever is not very apparent at all in the
Correct.
first season, because what's tragic about this relationship between Utena and Anthy, at least I thought, was near the end of this story, Utena is trying to save Anthy. She thinks, oh, Anthy says she doesn't want to be the Rose Bride, blah blah blah, and she strives so hard to save her, and then when she loses Anthy, and Anthy is betrothed to like Toga or whatever, she's like, no, I just do whatever. I just did it because I just said that stuff because you wanted me to say it. So she, like, you can't really tell, at least at this point, that Anthy really wanted to be free, because she literally says, no, I only said I wanted to be free because Utena, you wanted me to say that. So that's really tragic. And like the relationship between Anthy and Utena, like, I don't really understand why Utena likes Anthy that much.
Now, I think Utena, yet again, she's playing the part of the prince.
Yeah, she wants to save.
And she sees, I guess the Rose Bride is very much the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
And Utena's like purpose and role that she plays, she feels, the need to rescue her.
So if Anthy at all was not submissive or whatever, then Utena would not be interested.
I don't know.
I think that's
I don't know. But then they spent time together. Like, we don't ever... The thing is, within the series, I noticed that we don't ever really hear a lot of conversations between Utena and Anthy. It's like, all of a sudden, there's a scene of them just eating lunch together.
Yeah. Well, like...
And they don't...
Watching the first season... or story, whatever it's called, again, knowing what Anthy's true nature is as the witch or whatever, and how she's working with Akio or for Akio to do this whole dueling game thing or whatever, to regain the power of Dios or whatever. So like, and you notice that Anthy is always been an agent of Akio.
Okay.
Everything she does is for the dueling game. It's manipulative of Utena. She's been manipulating Utena from the start. So it's really hard for me to say if they ever had a positive relationship. Until near the end. But at the beginning,
I think she was... This is just my interpretation. Don't take it as final thing. My interpretation is that she was conflicted. Because Anthy loved her brother. I mean, you find out later on in the story that she, like, gave up pretty much herself to save her brother, and that's why she's in this whole trap anyways.
Yeah.
So she loves her brother, yet she spends time with Utena, and she's conflicted. But I think she's conflicted between Akio and Utena.
Do you think she's like this in this first story arc, or she's... No. Yeah, exactly. So throughout this entire first story arc, Anthy is... I don't feel like Anthy... Actually, there are some scenes where... during the dueling scenes where Utena is about to be injured or something, Anthy screams out, like, no, or whatever. So maybe there's hints of their relationship there.
I think that's what it is. It's an evolving relationship. You don't just start out loving that person, because she just thought... I'm sure she just thought Utena is another tool. Yeah. And then getting to know her in the... So, the first, I think, is the start, the little spark. Yeah, well,
for this podcast, we're focusing on the first story arc. So, for the majority of this story, Anthy is an agent of Akio. For the most part. Because I have notes here. Like, let's see. my notes, which I have to open up my phone because the computer just decided to stop recording the audio at that point. Okay. So in the episode where the episode where Nanami becomes a duelist or whatever, the whole thing about the cat inside the thing.
Yes.
You notice that Anthy gives Toga the cat, which spurs on Nanami's memories of the cat from her past, which makes Nanami go crazy and wants to duel.
Correct.
Anthy does that on purpose because she wants to spur on the duel, because the end of the world says, oh, we have a new duelist or whatever, and Toga knows that new duelist is Nanami, so they have to get Nanami to be a part of the dueling game. So likely Akio says, yo, Anthy, give this cat to Toga. And so Anthy does sort of stuff like that all throughout the series, and you won't notice it until you watch it through your second time, which is, I think, it's a really cool thing about this series. It's like The Prestige, where if you watch it a second time, you see all these things that you didn't notice before because you didn't know the full story. So there's cool stuff like that. Though there is one episode where Anthy does show some independence, right? Which it might be an accident or something, but I don't freaking believe it. So in the episode of the curry. Right? There is Anthy and Utena are making curry in their home ec class or whatever, and Nanami thinks that there's a special spice she put in there that the curry explodes, and Utena and Anthy change bodies or whatever. And after this happens, Toga says even End of the World could not have foreseen this happening, and that all the plans of End of the World may have been ruined because of this event. So at first, I was super excited. I mean, second time I watched it, I was super excited because it means, oh, Nanami is the most powerful character in the show because she single-handedly almost threw out all of Akio's plans. But at the end of the episode, you find out that Anthy's cooking is it's the reason for the whole body switching thing. So it wasn't Nanami at all. So Anthy had the power to escape from Akio's plan just by switching bodies with Utena. But at the very end, they switch back. I don't know. I'm just saying that could have been a way of trying to escape.
Yeah, see, I didn't really catch that because I was like, oh, Anthy did this?
Yeah. So, maybe
that's a good point.
Maybe that was part of Akio's plan, too. I don't know. Also, that's also the first appearance of Toga's cell phone, according to my notes. Is that episode.
The 90s cell phone.
Yeah. And let's see. What else is in my notes here? I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about that. Basically everything Anthy does is to spur on the dueling games or whatever. And Utena is not aware of it. And the viewer isn't aware of it the first time anyway. I keep clicking on my notes and it's going to crash the computer. Anyway. So are we done talking about Anthy?
Yes.
Alright, so since the first duel is Utena versus Saionji, right? We have to talk about Saionji. Mr. Green-haired, abusive boyfriend guy. What was your first impression of Saionji?
Your typical abuser.
I think his voice acting was terrible.
I just thought he sounded like a jerk. I mean, he showed me the embodiment of your typical abuser.
Okay.
Within a relationship.
Uh-huh.
Either emotionally or physically.
Yeah, so Saionji slaps the crap out of Anthy all the time, which I assume is because why? Why does he do that?
Because he can... If he doesn't get his way. And two, I think it shows power.
He should
Because Saionji as a character... Oh.
No, keep going.
Saionji as a character, you see that he has a lot of insecurities.
Yes, definitely.
And he has to show his dominance by hitting his woman.
Yeah.
Or hitting Anthy because I think to him that shows his masculinity.
Yeah.
Which... Yet again, back to symbolism, he could be that embodiment of, unfortunately there are men out there that, to assert their dominance, they have to control a woman. Like, they feel like they have to have control and kind of do what they want.
And it's more tragic because of the nature of the Rose Bride, he doesn't have to do that. He just does it.
He chooses to.
Yeah, because Anthy will do whatever he says no matter what because she's the Rose Bride. So... He doesn't have to hit her.
He's an abuser.
He just wants to do it just to show that, just to remind himself that he's in power.
Correct.
So that's really fucked up with Saionji. He's messed up. Of course, all the characters are really messed up in their own way.
Yes.
And he's super insecure about even though it's guaranteed, unless he loses the duel, obviously, which he does to Utena, it's guaranteed that Anthy will, and he's genuinely in love with Anthy.
Yeah, see, that's what I didn't understand. Is yet again, when you are in love with someone, you want the best for them.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he hurt her yet again.
Mm-hmm.
In abusive relationships, the guy at least is convinced himself that he is in love with his partner, but continues to abuse them.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's an insecurity surfacing and him trying to, say, "Yo, check me out. I'm the one in the power here." Because later on, let's see, I have other notes here. In Utena versus Saionji Duel 3, where he fights Utena again. Why does he fight? Okay, because it's the whole thing where he kidnaps Anthy because he got a letter, he got a fake letter from End of the World, which is from Toga, and the reason he did this is because I wrote down my notes. I don't remember why I thought this, but Saionji. Oh yeah, 'cause this is the episode near the episode where they're talking about how Saionji and Toga knew Utena when she was little, whatever, and they met her in the church or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was convinced that that Toga was the one that showed what's her face, Utena, something eternal or whatever, and he was obsessed with that. And like Saionji's always been in Toga's shadow, right? He's never been able to beat him or whatever. So at this point, he's even afraid of losing Anthy to Toga. So that's why what spurs him on is to take Anthy for himself, whatever. But so like Saionji's super insecure. He thinks he has this inferiority complex with everybody.
Yes, that's what it is.
So yeah, he's kind of messed up. But they're all sympathetic in some way. But he's really abusive, and that's no good. And he has stupid hair. I hate his hair. His voice is stupid too. Also, there's one episode, the Curry episode again. This very important episode, where at the very end of this episode, Saionji and Chu-Chu switch bodies.
I do remember that.
Did they ever switch back? What if they never did?
Saionji didn't stay in the tree.
What if they never switched
That was
back?
one of my favorite scenes. Saionji in the tree eating a banana.
What if Chu-Chu after that point it's always been Saionji, and that Saionji after that point it's always been Chu-Chu?
I think you're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I don't think that's true either. But anyway.
You can make your own fan movie about that.
So anyway, Utena wins Anthy from Saionji, which pisses him off, and then they fight again in the next duel. I don't remember why, whatever. So, and then he disappears for a while or something.
Yeah, you don't see him. Well, he's kicked off campus.
No, that's after.
Oh.
That's the very, very end of the story, near the end of the story,
okay.
after he gets the fake end of the world letter or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of just. Well, that's what happens throughout the series is characters kind of appear and then disappear.
Yeah. Though, Saionji comes back, but that's in the Black Rose thing, so we'll talk about that in the next installment of this podcast. Anything else you want to say about Mr. Green Hair?
No, I think we covered it all so far.
All right, let's move on to Miki, Mr. Blue Hair, who in the English dub they call him Mickey, like Mickey Mouse, which I don't know if that's in the Japanese version also or not, but his name is Miki. But anyway, so Miki is probably the least asshole-ish out of all the student council members, at least at first. He's not really.
Yet again, he's spurred on.
He's also really young. Is he in middle school too?
Yes.
Okay, he's got a stopwatch. I never really understood the stopwatch thing.
I've been trying to figure it out without trying to look it up. So, I'm sure some of you know what it is.
So Miki,
I'm trying to figure it out for myself. So
Miki, basically, he becomes Utena's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because they have to study together or whatever, because of Anthy, the Utena and Anthy haven't been able to study for their tests or whatever, so they make bad grades in math or whatever because of all these dueling crap. So Miki offers to tutor Anthy because Miki also is in love with Anthy. I don't know why everyone's in love with Anthy. She has no personality. I don't get it. What's the deal? I'm sure it's...
Well, he fell in love with her because
of the piano. Because he has some weird sister complex thing. But so he's really smart. What else about Miki?
He's a genius.
Oh yeah. He's good at playing the
Plays
piano.
the piano.
Yeah, he's so good at playing the piano that he thought his sister was good at playing the piano too, but no, she sucked at playing the piano. It was all on him. So yeah,
But in
Mickey's
his
a total
mind-
asshole. Mickey's a total asshole.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's just
He's not aware.
misguided. He's a calm spirit, though.
Okay.
He has a calm nature about him, which to me is unlike the rest of the duelists. All of them seem to have more stronger wills. He seems to be like a beta.
Yeah, and
Not an alpha.
He loves Anthy. He wants Anthy to be his, but he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to win her in a duel. He thinks that's messed up. At first, he thinks that's messed up. So he Utena's like, oh cool, you don't want to fight me for the thing, and actually, I think Utena tries to hook him up or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because she thought it was cute.
But Anthy doesn't care.
And yet again, what happens? Miki assumes, just like Utena, Anthy doesn't want to be the Rose Bride, and so he thinks he can, set her free, I guess.
Yeah, so I wrote my notes here that Miki wants to be Anthy's prince, but Utena is Anthy's prince. So,
which I find, yet again, Anthy's a tool for Akio the whole time.
Yes, but they don't know at this point.
At this point.
And Miki also has some sister who doesn't really do much in this first season, right? Kozue.
We hear about their background story.
Like, she shows up because she's making out with Toga in the piano room or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you find out Kozue is very different from Miki. Miki seems a little bit more innocent.
Yeah.
And the sister seems very tainted.
Yeah. Well, it's Miki's fault because he didn't know that his sister sucked at playing the piano, and then he got sick.
And she has a brother complex.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's fair. And I wrote, man, it's weird. It's just so weird.
It was a...
So anyway,
so
Miki's all cool and stuff, and they go and study with Utena in one of my favorite sequences where Nanami comes along and tries to put a bunch of octopuses and stuff inside Anthy's stuff, but Anthy already has giant octopuses in her closet, so it's fine.
That whole part.
Oh, it's so sad because Nanami's snake that she works so hard to get gets eaten by a mongoose.
Ate it.
And I guess Nanami and Miki are friends too.
Yeah, they're friends. And Nanami. I can never say her name correctly. But anyways, I mean, she actually looks out for Miki.
Yeah, because later on this, I know we're not at Nanami yet, but I want to say this. Like later on in the series, Nanami is it's like anything that has to do with her brother. She's like, no, brother's for me. But at the very beginning, she's even protective of Miki because she finds out Miki loves Anthy. And it's like, what?
No. Remember.
What?
She did not like Anthy.
Yeah.
Because she thought Toga was into Anthy, so she just hated Anthy. Yeah, I think she just did it because she hated Anthy.
In that episode with Miki, when Miki's playing the piano and talking to Nanami, Nanami's blushing and stuff while Miki's playing the piano. So it was some weird stuff there. Yeah.
I thought she was just blushing because she liked the sound of the music.
Sure,
it sounded
whatever.
romantic.
Yeah, and the whole, as a viewer, you're probably supposed to think that she's into him, even though it's not true. Maybe at that point in the series, because she's trying to get at Anthy the entire time, and anyway, I don't know. Maybe the writers just didn't think what. I feel like we're not at Nanami, but I feel like Nanami, they didn't know what to do with her at first. They didn't know what to do with her character because she's exclusive to the anime.
Yeah, exactly, because she was not in the manga.
Yeah, and she's barely in the movie.
Well,
actually, she's in the manga in a picture of Toga's family. That's it. She's not.
She was an add-on character, which became a great character.
We're not at Nanami yet. Anyway, so Miki's all cool and all until he finds his sister making out or doing whatever with Toga in the piano, which is when I realized it's not the first. Toga's been taking off his shirt since the beginning of the series, not just at the very end of the series. So he finds Kozue making out or doing something with Toga in the piano, and Toga does this on purpose. He specifically targets Miki's sister because he wants Miki to duel Utena for Anthy. So he's saying, hey, the only way you can get Anthy is by fighting, because I could just take her or whatever. So, and
he starts planting those seeds
of doubt or whatever.
Yeah, in his mind
So it changes.
He's manipulating the situation.
And it changes Miki's whole outlook of, I can't win Anthy in a duel, like so. And in this way, I wrote down here, because Miki succumbs to Toga's manipulation and now wants total control of Anthy through the duel, it removes his nobility, making him not worthy to be a prince of Anthy. Isn't that cool? I wrote that down. Do you agree? No, you don't agree? You don't agree. Why?
Moving on.
What? Come on. Is that fair to say or no?
Okay, that's a fair interpretation to have.
What do you think then?
Let me read it again.
Oh my gosh. So much. There's silence.
I wouldn't say Miki, quote, unworthy. He just wasn't strong enough.
Exactly. That makes him unworthy.
Okay.
But in the end, it doesn't really matter, because Anthy's totally conspiring against all of them.
Okay, let's not jump ahead.
What am I talking about? We're jumping ahead. Okay, so on. Utena versus Juri, next one. Tell me about Juri. I forgot her last name. They all have last names. I don't remember most of them.
I just say Juri. She is the head of the fencing team.
Fencing club or something
fencing
like that.
club,
Yeah.
Which is a
Miki's
very
part of the fencing club too.
Prestigious role to have at the school.
Sure.
She's similar to Utena in the sense that she's very strong, yet she has a very aloof personality.
What do you mean?
Aloof, she's very disconnected. Seems very apathetic.
Yeah.
Towards everything around her.
Yeah. Because she's I don't know. Her voice acting's really bad.
You didn't like her voice acting.
Her voice acting's terrible.
I think you say terrible, but I think they were trying to play this certain part of her being aloof and apathetic and not caring.
No.
So she was very monotone.
No. She's a bad actor.
Okay.
Even when she was supposed to care, she didn't sound like she sounded like she was just doing her job as a voice actor. Anyway, what else about Juri? She's lesbian. She's in love with...
Well, you don't find that out till the end. I like how they present it, because it fooled me as well. They presented it like she... So there was
there were three,
Juri, Shiori, and
some other dude.
Some dude, and they were all part of the fencing. And Shiori and Juri were best friends, and the other guy...
I don't think
they mentioned his name.
Yeah.
Falls in love with Juri, but Shiori wanted to take... She was like, I want to take something away from Juri, because she was very envious and jealous of Juri.
Shiori sucks.
Well, yeah. She's supposed to. And... So that ends up happening, and Juri's very upset. So throughout this episode introducing Juri, you think, oh my gosh, it's terrible. Her best friend betrayed her and took the guy she was in love with. And you think that she's not forgiving her because of that. Yeah. And then in the end, Juri is always wearing this gold necklace, where it has a picture, that there's a locket.
Yeah.
That's in there. And at the very end... Shiori would always say, believe in miracles and they will know your true feelings, which doesn't make sense to me.
Well, what does it mean, actually? What does it actually mean?
I guess, to me, it's almost having hope.
Are you sure she just make it up just to mess with Juri?
Well,
I wouldn't put it past Shiori to do that.
Yeah, so, eventually you see that she thinks that Juri is in love with the other guy.
And the viewer is led to believe that as well.
Yes. So, but then the last minute, you find out, you see she wears this locket. Juri always wears this locket, and you don't know who's inside the locket. Mm-hmm. And it shows a picture of Shiori inside the locket. So you find out actually Juri was in love with Shiori all this time.
everyone in this series is in love with someone for no reason.
Okay, so I would like to make a point of that. So, yet again, this is adolescence. This is a prevalent theme of adolescence, and I feel like in adolescence, you fall in love with the wrong person.
Okay.
And so there may be no rhyme or reason to it, but for whatever reason, you end up falling in love with that person, either making them too great in your head or idolizing them. You know, maybe having a previous friendship. I don't know. A lot of this, especially for a lot of them, I feel like they just try to idolize everyone, even though they are...
Okay, I can see where you're going with this now.
Because you do that in the adolescence.
And later in the series, she does she gets over this, right?
Who?
Jury.
No.
She doesn't? No. Really?
No.
I need to rewatch the very end of this thing.
Yeah, that's actually what's really...
Because I didn't know what Seth Rollins was doing the entire time.
That's actually what's really sad about Shiori and Juri, is Juri can't seem to ever let go.
Even though Seth Rollins... I keep calling him Seth Rollins because he looks like Seth Rollins. Luca or whatever, which we're not talking about because he's not in the first part.
Yeah. It just seems within this... And yet again, in adolescence, I mean, you see that where they have such a hard time letting go of the past.
Are you sure she doesn't get over it? Because at the end she wants Utena's picture in her locket and not Shiori's. I'm gonna have to. When we get there. When we get to the last story arc, we'll talk about this again.
Yes, yeah. Let's wait because I feel like there's a very, very last thing that's very, very important.
Okay.
With what happens to the characters, but pretty much throughout the series, everyone is attached to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the reason that Juri duels Utena is not for the rose bias, because she didn't give a crap about Anthy. It's because she wants to prove to Utena that there are no miracles, right?
Right. She has a hang-up. Bitter. Juri is very bitter. And so her seeing Utena having hope and meeting her prince one day just sickens Juri.
Yeah. And
battles, challenges her to a duel.
And she loses because Utena the best. The end. And they all live happily ever after.
Man, now that we keep talking about Juri, I'm just like, you're just a bitter old woman.
But she's in her adolescence,
I know,
though.
but she acts like a bitter old woman. Okay. Anyways.
Maybe that's how... It's because of her hair. If her hair was balanced... If her hair was balanced, if they were symmetrical, then she would be okay. But... Okay, one thing I want to talk about is... how much experience do you have with the Utena fandom? Do you know anything about what they discuss or whatever? Shipping and stuff like that?
I try to do my fandom all by myself.
I feel like...
I don't get involved.
That... I have confirmed this because I haven't looked any of this up, but I feel like a lot of fans would probably ship Miki and Juri.
Why?
Because they're always hanging out. Because, when they're fancying each other, oh, you could never beat me or whatever. And in the freaking movie, Juri comes on to Miki. So...
No, she was joking around.
Yeah, sure she was.
She was joking around.
That movie...
Juri, from what all I can tell, is she's obsessed with Shiori.
But in the movie, none of that really matters. In the movie, it's all a bunch of bullcrap.
It's still that whole thing where she's like, something constricts her. We're
talking about the anime, so it doesn't really matter at that point. I just think I hate the movie. So all I wanted to say is I hate the movie. Anyway.
Okay. Great. Right at the beginning.
We'll talk about the movie after all this crap.
No, I'm not going to be there for it.
Why not?
You'll just be hating on it.
I want you to... Maybe you could convince me to like it or something.
No.
I like the part with the car. Anyway. So we already talked about Utena versus Saionji Part 3, right? Or was that cut out? Or is that part of the part we lost? I don't remember. Saionji's scared of losing Anthy to Toga because he kidnaps.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, was that when that happened? I don't remember. I don't remember the order of the episodes. Anyway, who gives a crap? Let's talk about Utena versus Nanami. Nanami is my favorite character in the whole series.
She's an interesting character.
She's only in the anime. She's in a picture of Toga's family, the manga, and she's a cow in the movie, and she's basically the only major role she plays is in the anime. And I feel like it might have been part of the thing that we got cut out, but I feel like because she's exclusive to the anime, they didn't really know what to do with her at first, because her character seems a little bit different when she's first introduced into the series than what she ends up being in the end of the series. First of all, her voice is annoying, but I think it's annoying on purpose.
Yeah.
But it doesn't start out that way. When she first starts talking, she doesn't have that big brother voice. She has like kind of a normal voice. But as it goes on, it becomes that voice, that irritating voice, which, is part of her character at this point that I'm okay with it. So Nanami has a brother complex, and she is basically in love with her brother Toga, who is the president of the student council or whatever. And even though at the very beginning she's also very protective of... Just because she apparently hates Anthy, because for some reason she thinks Toga is obsessed with Anthy, even though Toga doesn't really show that at all.
I think what it is the Rose Bride thing. Like winning her as a Rose Bride.
But Toga doesn't really talk about winning Anthy over. Only to manipulate Miki or Saionji does he talk about it.
Anyway, she feels threatened by Anthy, and so she's
Because
always
she's popular,
out to get her. Because... Which episode was it?
What?
That where she tricks Anthy into wearing a dress.
That's isn't that the episode where Nanami's introduced?
Was that it?
I don't remember.
This is bad.
It's
I can't keep up.
She sends Anthy the stupid dress that dissolves water because I don't know.
She wants to embarrass Anthy.
Why?
And then,
why does she want to embarrass Anthy?
Because she's out to get Anthy.
Why does she want to get Anthy?
Because she thinks Toga's after her.
Why does she think that? I need to look this up. Man, this is the greatest podcast in the world.
I assumed it was because of the whole Rose Bride thing. How she's involved in the student council and each one of them are trying to duel for Anthy, but it's to get the power, the world revolution.
See, in this episode, in the ball episode, Toga is trying to get it on with Utena.
Yeah, and
but what does Anthy have to do with any of that crap?
But remember...
No.
Nanami?
Yeah, what about Nanami? Nanami sent a thing to Anthy.
She's always misinterpreting things.
I guess.
Throughout the series, she's always misinterpreting... Well, and in general, she thinks every girl's after her brother.
Well, every girl is after her brother.
Well, Toga's after every girl.
Except for Utena. And Toga's after everything. Every girl, everything. He's an ally to all women. Remember that? He says that. That's stupid. Anyway, so I feel like also because later in this series she only becomes protective of Toga, but in the beginning she's also protective of Miki for some reason. I think it's because
I didn't see her being protective. I just saw her hating Anthy. Why does kind of that jealousy thing? Uh-huh. She seems to be kind of jealous of
Anthy just
because
she gets all this attention.
Why does she think she's so great?
I don't know. I just
I don't see it as her being protective of Miki. I just see her just really hating Anthy and hates the fact that
I don't remember.
One of her friends likes Anthy.
Okay.
And wanted to make Anthy appear as this evil person.
Either way, at the very beginning of this series, Nanami isn't that. I don't know. Her character seems unfinished at this point.
More one-dimensional?
I guess. Because, a lot of the episodes with her in it are comedy stuff, like comic relief, like the curry thing, which I don't remember if that was recorded or not either. But
switching bodies.
Yeah. So what was it about Nanami? She has a uniform where it shows her butt. She's
very obnoxious. To me, she embodies your typical popular girl.
Sure.
I don't, just very obnoxious. She has a posse. She uses it to bully others, specifically Anthy. But she'll yell at Utena. But yet again,
see, Utena's the real threat here, and she doesn't. Not until later does she do anything against Utena. Actually, no. In the kitten episode, that's when Toga. Okay, so when they were kids, during Toga's birthday party, Nanami wanted to please her brother, so she went out and got a kitten, and it took her a very long time to catch the cat or whatever, because she was all dirty, and she gives the cat to Toga, and Toga loves it, and then the cat takes all of Toga's attention, and Nanami wants to pick apples, but she can't reach them. So she asks Toga for help, and Toga's with the cat. She's like, "Do it later. I'm playing with this cat." And then the cat, which I know from experience, the cat bites Toga playfully, and then Nanami goes, "Stop it," to the cat. Hits it really hard, and Toga gets pissed. It's like, "Don't do it. I'm not helping your animals now, or your apples now, because you hit my cat." So Nanami becomes jealous of the cat because the cat is monopolizing all of Toga's attention. So she takes the cat, puts it in the cardboard box, tapes it up, throws it in a river. And that's just really messed up. This is when you find out that Nanami is not super right in the head. And it's really tragic and sad that they don't really help her. They don't.
Yet again, we are in adolescence. We're not thinking about.
I don't know. You think the student guidance counselor would notice one of the most popular girls?
You're getting too logical right now. Well, and I'm thinking back in my adolescence day, if some girl acted like that, I just thought she was a really rude, snobby person. I didn't think there was anything wrong with her.
Well, Toga should be smarter than this, but...
Toga's out for himself.
Yes,
Toga's out for Toga.
He is manipulating Nanami as much as everyone else because... And just like, Anthy, she brings the cat. She gives, for Toga's new birthday... I don't know. Anthy gives Toga a cat, which I'm pretty sure, I don't know if we talked about this in the part that was lost, but she gives Toga a new cat, which triggers Nanami's memories of the sad cat that she killed. And I'm sure this is all a plot by Akio. It's like, "Hey, Anthy, give him this cat." And Toga knows this because Toga knows that a new duelist is coming, and that's Nanami. Mm-hmm. And in order to get Nanami to duel Utena, he makes it. Obviously Toga wants Utena, but he also makes Nanami jealous of Utena because she's giving Utena all this attention, and then she wants to duel Utena, and Nanami's. She's vicious. She has did she have two swords or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, she cheats.
Yeah, because after she loses the duel to Utena in regular, she doesn't give a crap. She's like, "I don't care. I'm going to kill you." So I have this knife in my shoe.
Because she thinks she's defending her brother.
Yeah. And then, I don't know what happens after that.
Then I remember Toga basically does stop.
Yeah.
Her from destroying, actually killing Utena.
Uh-huh.
And she's like crying. She's like, "Oh, get them, big brother."
Yeah.
And then you realize how crazy she is.
Mm-hmm. And so that's all for Utena. I can think of it for Nanami at this point. She later becomes super amazing, best character in the show. Because she's like one of the few people that's actually able to see how freaking weird and stupid everything is.
That's what I love. The character that you would think wouldn't notice anything and is about herself ends up being the one who figures out what's going on. Like, she knows what's happening with Akio
that the
and
whole
Anthy.
Student Council's crap is bull. And the Rose Bride
She sees the reality of things.
Yes.
And the rest of them are still stuck in this duelist world.
Yeah.
And that's... I find that very fascinating, and I don't know why they did that.
Because she's best character. That's why.
I think there was something about her personality where, she was a little crazy, but then eventually kind of starts seeing things how they actually...
Well, again, we're not at that part. But
I know.
The reason of that is because she sees Anthy and Akio doing stuff. Anyway,
I don't know.
Let's move on to Toga. This jerk.
He's so stupid.
Okay, so at this point, Utena versus Toga. let's talk about Toga first. He's a student council president. He's super manipulative. We talked about how he manipulates everybody besides, I guess, Juri. Or does he manipulate Juri in some way? I don't remember. He manipulates Saionji, he manipulates Miki to fight Utena. He manipulates Nanami to fight Utena. So I would not be surprised if he also manipulates Juri in some way. Like maybe he says, "Yo, Utena likes miracles. You don't like miracles."
I'll have to think when we get to the later episodes. Yeah. I can't think of anything specific now.
I'm sure he probably says something to Juri that spurs her on to confront Utena about something, because he does it with everybody.
Yeah.
With every character.
And he's always hooking up with every girl.
Yeah.
And he's your playboy.
I wonder, does he do that?
Power hungry.
Does he only do that out of pleasure, or is it part of his plan to hook up with other girls?
I mean, I think he's just out for power and pleasure, and he's out for himself.
What are you talking about? He's an ally to all women. That's what he said to Utena when she was a little girl.
Yet that gets messed up.
Let's see. So in this duel versus Utena, Toga versus Utena, Utena loses because Toga has been collecting all this data of all the duels that she's been doing with everyone.
He's been watching.
So she knows that Utena has a prince that she wants to meet or whatever, and that's what's spurring her on. So Toga assumes the role of the prince to attack Utena's weakness, and it works. And
how does he do that?
I forgot. Oh, it's because of when Saionji after he kidnaps Anthy and attacks Utena outside of the dueling game or whatever. Toga shows up. It's like, "Yo, check out my back." And then Saionji, he jumps in front of the Saionji's attack and it sacrifices himself for Utena or whatever to protect Utena. And he's all like, "Yo, your prince probably would have done a better job." And then, or something. The subtitles actually say the prince might have been someone like me or something like that. But the actual dub doesn't say that until later. So Toga implants this idea that he might be Utena's prince, right?
Correct.
So I'm wondering, Toga's a huge asshole, right? But we don't really know how much. I mean, we've seen how manipulative he can be, but are we also led to believe that Toga? Are we supposed to think that maybe Toga could be Utena's prince, or is it supposed to be super obvious to us that he's not?
I think
because Utena falls for it hella hard.
I had speculations that might be her prince.
Yeah, and also there's the whole flashback with Toga and Saionji fighting Utena in the coffin. And
so I was thinking, I was like, oh, is it actually Toga?
Yeah, even Saionji might think it might be Toga.
So I think we are
that we're supposed to maybe think that maybe Toga really is the prince.
A slight hint of it.
Even though all the imagery the prince chose to do with purple hair and the dark skin.
And then when you meet Akio, you're like, oh.
Yeah. So, here are my notes. Here's what I wrote about Toga being a prince. He's presented as extremely manipulative and only masquerading as the prince to exploit Utena's weakness. And maybe we are meant to doubt his claim as the prince because we think the real prince would be more noble. But the truth is, Akio, the actual prince, is kind of just as much of an asshole as Toga. So we do doubt that Toga might not be Utena's prince because he's too much of an asshole. But Utena's actual prince is even bigger asshole.
But that's a later.
I know, but they're probably planning this in the beginning to make you think, oh, a prince has to be this certain way. He has to be noble, blah, blah, blah. But no, her actual prince.
And I think that's the theme.
Yeah, I think that's really cool when I noticed that second time through.
Well, and then you find out other things of why she even talked to him in the first place.
What do you mean? Talk to who?
Akio. What he said to her when he first met her.
Oh, in the church or whatever? Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. So anyways,
Toga's asshole and jerk.
Yeah, and Utena and Toga duel, and then Utena actually, I guess, Toga messes with Utena's head so much that she actually loses the duel.
Yes.
Because, yet again, that symbolism of Toga being manipulative and hitting her in her weakness. He found her weakness. Her weakness is that she's... The reason she's the way she is the hope of a prince. Of the prince.
Yeah.
For her. So then, throughout that time, Utena, like, starts reverting to just a normal girl.
Yeah, she stops wearing her... Actually, this is after, because she's also really sad because Anthy's gone. Because Anthy is with Toga now. And she realized that all Anthy was saying was only because Utena wanted her to say that, I don't want to be the Rose Bride. She found out all about... And
I think also Utena realizes how much she's starting to care for Anthy.
Okay.
Like, she misses her. But also, Utena is depressed. I think for that, and also that she's depressed because she's kind of lost herself.
Yeah. Well, because
in the process.
Yeah, she stops acting like Utena has been acting, and Wakaba notices it, and, like...
she starts wearing, the schoolgirl outfit, and even Toga, like, hits on Utena.
Yeah, and Wakaba is like, tell her to go away, and she didn't say anything. And then Wakaba tries to splash water on Toga, but ends up hitting Anthy instead. And Wakaba's like, sorry, but you were in the way. And then Utena slaps the crap out of Wakaba. I'm like,
Well, because until Wakaba blames Anthy for what's going on.
Because, she says,
and
you guys had a fight.
And then you realize how protective Utena still is of Anthy.
Exactly. And that's kind of cool. And then, what was it? And then Wakaba convinces Utena to do what? Because she challenges Toga again. Because Wakaba tells Utena to take back... This is weird. What she was before, I guess. Mm-hmm. Which means she needs Anthy again.
And also, if you... I don't know if we're gonna...
What?
Get in... Like, she's taking back who she is.
Yes. That's what I meant to say. I couldn't think of how to say it.
Not just... Like, Anthy...
Yes.
Is important, but this is an important duel in the sense of she's taking back herself and her identity. Mm-hmm. That, and what I like about this episode is that even Utena hits a time of self-doubt. Mm-hmm. She's always, she fails.
Yeah, she's always been so strong this entire series.
And she's been winning.
Yes.
She's won, and now this time she lost, and it's that whole thing, is she going to hide away and let this destroy her and who she is? Yeah. Or is she going to overcome this failure and become who she was supposed to be?
Yeah. And... Which
I find a very...
She ends up... Well, freaking duel is weird because Toga's so like, yo, you had this sword the entire time, but you didn't know it could do this cool special thing. And then he does a cool special thing. I forget what it was.
Well, because Toga knows more about what's going on.
Yeah. And then... I don't know. There's new animation with her Toga taking the sword out of Anthy or whatever, and blah blah. Utena wins. And like another thing I put in my notes here is that Toga continues to be a jerk even after winning the duel the first time, because during the student council meeting he has Anthy up there with her because Anthy is her bride, and Miki is freaking pissed the entire time, and Toga knows this. He's like, and then like Anthy's like, should I leave? And Toga's like, no, I want you right here next to me, and Miki's fuming. So
Toga loves giving a reaction out of others.
Yeah. So Toga is like rubbing his engagement to Anthy in Miki's face the entire time, and I thought it was really funny.
Well, and I find it interesting. I thought it was so mean or like cruel when he has Anthy right across from him, and Toga gets a phone call.
Yeah.
And basically sets up a date with a girl.
Oh, right. Yes. Correct.
And Anthy... he has no regard for her whatsoever, and just, she's a pawn.
Yeah.
Then, when Toga leaves to go on his date, what does Anthy see?
I don't remember.
Like, in the chair across from her.
Oh, Utena, yes, correct.
So there we go. There's another hint.
Of her breaking Free Bakio's control or whatever, and And
Well,
her actual
developing...
relationship with Utena.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay, I got you. So there are hints of it there.
Yes.
There's it there. So that's good. I like that.
And you have to pick up on it, and you have to start remembering it so you don't hate Anthy. Completely.
I didn't remember it. I only hated Anthy because she didn't have emotions.
I think we saw different things, which is
also fine. I also didn't like Anthy's. We're talking about Anthy now, even if we're talking about Toga. I hated Anthy's voice because it was so soulless and stuff. But it's on purpose because in the episode where they switch bodies, and Anthy, like Utena takes on. Utena is in Anthy's body, but Anthy's voice actress is still doing Anthy's voice, and it sounds normal.
Correct.
And Utena's voice, it sounds all Anthy-ish. So,
they wanted Anthy to feel
they wanted Anthy to sound like that. It sounds so stupid and whatever. I guess it works, I guess. Anything else here?
Okay, so...
Soga's cell phone makes another appearance, like you said. He makes a date with that girl on his cell phone.
Is he shirtless again?
Probably, at some point. I don't know.
Okay, wait. What does Wakaba say to get Utena to battle?
Take back yourself or whatever?
Okay. And so... then Utena ends up winning.
Yeah, Utena beats Toga because... How? How does he beat her? Power of love? I don't know.
The prince
takes out a gun, shoots him, says, "Ha! You have a sword, but I have these pistols!" And then Toga's like, "Oh no! I took off my shirt, so I couldn't wear a bulletproof vest." And he dies.
That's not what happened.
And then the reason that his hair is red is because of the blood from...
So JR is gonna write a new series for Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Hey, it'll be better than the movie. Better than the movie where Utena and Toga are totally dating. Yeah, gross. I'm sticking my finger in my mouth so I can throw up.
No.
That's gross. Toga sucks.
No.
The Toga does develop genuine feelings for Utena, but he doesn't deserve her.
At the end.
Yeah.
Towards the end. Okay. So was that the end of that story arc?
Yes, that's the end of that story arc. Then we get the episode that I skipped, which is the recap episode where we're introduced to Akio, and he talks about what all the duels meant. What did they mean, Caitlin? Because I didn't get to watch the episode because he told me to skip it.
One was for, I forget which order it was, but one was for friendship.
Okay, that's probably Toga, right? They're all friends.
One was for, the last one I knew was for self.
That makes sense.
I don't know the others.
One was
Aren't I a great Utena fan?
One was for their sister because he wanted to play the piano or something. I don't know.
Something we could look up, I'm sure. But I will watch it 5 more times and I'll memorize it. I'll become a true Utena fan.
Oh, let's talk about Chu-Chu. Chu-Chu's a monkey, apparently. I didn't know that until like the end.
Makes me mad because he eats all the good food.
He does eat a lot.
It makes me so mad how much of the food he eats of theirs.
He also dies a lot. This one time
he's
he
really
chokes.
Gassy.
He chokes on something. I forget. He eats those silica packets that look like condoms.
I know, you're like, what are those?
Somebody sent Anthy something for this night. And it's dressed in a pack of condoms.
I was like,
and then Chu-Chu eats them. But then it's even worse than when it turns out they're silica and those are poison, I assume, for monkeys. Chu-Chu is Anthy's only friend, really, besides Utena. And I don't really know...
And Anthy always claims it's like, I don't need new friends.
Yeah.
Chu-Chu is my friend.
And, and because later in the series we find out Anthy's a witch, and, witches have, like, familiars and stuff like that.
And you know what? Chu-Chu knows all that's happening.
What do you mean?
He knows what's going on. Like he knows about Anthy. He knows about Akio.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, if you see the facial expressions where Utena's like, where's Anthy? And Chu-Chu's like freaking out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that what he's doing? I thought we just had like a facial expression.
No, that's what my thing is. Is like Chu-Chu knows what's up the whole time.
Yeah. Also, Chu-Chu, like, Chu-Chu's protective of Anthy because he hates Saionji.
Oh yeah, like he'll come and warn
And he likes Utena.
Utena.
So that's cool and all. You know what else is in my notes
What?
about Chu-Chu? I read this on the internet because I went through looking up man,
I'm listening.
Utena is so old that nowadays, whenever you want to look up something, you just look up the specific Wikia page for it, like the Utena Wiki. If I look up in the Utena Wiki, there's barely anything on it. All the analysis and stuff is on Angel Fire and GeoCities web pages because the anime is so old.
Angel Fire.
So people need to update the freaking wiki with more analyses. Anyway, in one of the analysis, they said that Chu-Chu is a prince. And he may be representative of a prince that has given up because he's like lazy and gluttonous and stuff like that. And the evidence of him being a prince is because he is dressed like Akio. He has one earring on his ear, just like Akio, and he wears a tie like Akio. And at the very end of the series, when he leaves with Anthy, he takes off the earring and the tie to cut ties with Akio.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, is he a representation somehow, like, crazy thought came in when I was watching this series. I was like, can Akio shapeshift?
Do you think was Akio in control of Chu-Chu the entire time?
Or something, like, was he able to, like, I was like, was Akio just like...
Akio could do whatever the hell he wants. He can jump on hoods of cars, take off his shirt, do freaking photo shoots on top of perilous car balancing acts. Akio can do whatever the hell. He can freaking make a dead guy live in his school forever. He can make him fall in love with...
So that's what I wondered. I was like, is Akio and Chu-Chu the same person?
No, he can't be.
Okay.
I don't think so. Because Chu-Chu is Chu-Chu's on Utena's side, isn't he?
Yeah.
He seems to be always helping out Utena.
Well, I think
even though Anthy is always, working for Akio. Huh.
I think Chu-Chu is Anthy's friend, and so Chu-Chu wants what's best for Anthy, and he knows that Utena is best for Anthy.
Yeah, Chu-Chu knows that Anthy is basically enslaved to Akio.
Yeah.
And Chu-Chu is helping Utena because he knows Utena can help Anthy pull away from Akio. Is that what you're thinking? Correct. But why is he still wearing the earring and the tie?
Well, he's probably tied down to Akio as well, since Anthy is too.
Maybe Anthy just dresses up Chu-Chu like Akio for some reason. I don't know.
Interesting, Prince. Well, I always thought, and Chu-Chu just seemed to know more what's going on, and they focused on him a lot.
Like, because this is Revolutionary Girl Utena, everything has a reason. Even though it seems like Chu-Chu is just comedy relief, there's a reason he's there and a reason he does the things he does.
That's true.
And all animes have to have some kind of cute mascot character so they can sell merchandise or whatever. But Chu-Chu's there for a reason, and I guess he's there. He's the true hero of the series, Chu-Chu, because he's there to help Utena. And so it should really just be called Revolutionary Monkey Chu-Chu. To rename the whole series that.
The true hero was Chu-Chu.
Yeah, and Chu-Chu's barely in the movie, so makes me more mad.
Maybe it's symbolism that a prince can be
a monkey.
Any size.
Yeah. And then we go back to the part where Saionji and Chu-Chu switched bodies. So maybe Saionji was the prince all along.
No.
So basically, Chu-Chu's the best character, and then Nanami's second best character.
Such a great
Who's your favorite character in the series? Utena?
Utena.
Really? Why?
Because she's very strong and she overcomes
So Nanami's strong
herself.
too. Nanami's very strong. Not mentally, but she's strong.
I just I like the fact that what Utena represented, breaking out of maybe normal female roles, which is very inspiring.
She wants to be a prince.
I like her outfit.
Yeah.
And especially towards the end of the series.
You like her pink hair?
How she... I'll talk about that later.
What? Why later?
Wait, no, I'll talk about later on in the series why I like Utena
Oh,
and her decisions that she
Okay.
makes.
All right.
Why
Uh-huh.
I find her very important.
This 14-year-old girl.
That looks like she's in college.
They're anime. You know how tall those dudes look? They look like basketball players. Man, Utena's the actual basketball player. Everyone's all the guys are so freaking tall except Miki. He's so tiny. And Mitsuru, I guess. Does Mitsuru show up in these episodes?
Mitsuru.
He does show up.
Mitsuru.
All the characters. We'll get into the other characters, the other side characters more in the Black Rose because they become duelists in that series. So we'll talk about Wakaba then. We'll talk about Mitsuru. Then we'll talk about
Wakaba.
We'll talk more about Shiori and Kozue in the next podcast.
Shiori is the true hero, right?
And because we're not done with the series yet, we'll get back to Toga and Saionji or whatever as they return to the story. Return to the importance of the story later on in the series. So this is just our initial impressions. Not really only our initial impressions of the series, but just a starting off point of what we're discussing in the series. And I'm just still mad that we lost all that stuff we talked about when GarageBand crashed my computer. So before that happens again, I'm going to stop the podcast here, and hopefully we'll be able to get to the next part soon when we talk about the Black Rose Saga and the 100 people that died in that stupid thing, and Boy Utena. Well, Boy Utena, the guy with the pink hair, and Boy Anthy, who was actually just Anthy. What? Weird.
so trippy.
Dude, the Black Rose Saga...
That's my favorite.
I think this is actually when I actually began to actually like the series. Before I was just watching it because you were showing it to me. And then once the Black Rose Saga started, and it started to get darker and just more weird and surreal... I think that's when it started bringing back characters from the previous arc, and I was like, oh, these characters weren't just one-off characters; they actually get more development. So that's when I actually started liking Black Rose Saga.
Rose Saga is one of my favorites.
So when I rewatch it and we do a podcast, I'm sure I'll have much more to say about the series. So until then, take care, watch Doggone Wrestling, and hey, don't be surprised if you see some Utena wrestling stuff on my channel. So, see you later. Shut up. Alright, say bye, Caitlin.
Bye.
Bye. The Absolute Destiny Apocalypse.